Good morning, my beloved students. This is teacher Mustafa, and today we're going to complete talking about our new story, the unsinkable wreck of the RMS, the Titanic. Okay, so Omar Ahmed Mohsen,
Yes, mister.
what is the genre of this selection?
The genre. Mister, can you wait 1 minute? Okay. The genre is expository text.
Expository text. Very good. What is the meaning of expository text?
It means that everything in the story is a fact.
Very good. Everything in this story, it's a fact. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Very good. So let's start. Now, Omar Hamada, what does this timeline show or these graphic sources?
These graphic sources show us and make us easy to know when the ship was good and when the ship breaks into, when the ship becomes underwater like this, and make it easy for us to understand what happened to the ship.
That's
or
it.
the
That's
Titanic
exactly
itself.
it, Omar. Amazing. Really amazing. Really proud. It makes us understand easily, or it makes us easily understand what happened to the ship. It is labeled by time, right? So it follows the sequence or it doesn't follow the time sequence?
No, yes.
Very
Like
good.
here first, we have April 10. There, he want to make it fast for us to know, not to get for us all the days or all the times.
Yes, the
No, he
important
did for
events
us here.
only. Very good, amazing. The important events only. This is called what, Omar
Yes,
Hamada? Chronological
graphic source.
order. Chronological order, which
Or
means arranging the events according to when they happened, to when they
happen.
happened. Very good, amazing, amazing, amazing. Very good. Then we knew that Ahmed Amjad,
Yes, Mister.
we knew that what happened to the Titanic, Ahmed?
Sank.
It sank. Very good. Where did it sink exactly?
Well, Mister.
Where did it sink?
Ah, okay, in the ocean near the iceberg.
In the ocean because of an iceberg. Very, very good. Amazing. So how did they go to the Titanic now, Ahmed?
By a submarine.
Very good, by using a submarine. Very good. What was the submarine's name?
Elvin.
Alvin. Very good. How can you describe our main characters? Feelings and emotions and thoughts?
They were so excited.
He was so excited. Very good. And
Um, Shouting.
he couldn't believe.
Well, yeah, he couldn't believe that he would ride the Titanic.
Very good. That he is on the Titanic and he felt as if he had walked into
A dream.
a dream. Very, very good. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Very good. Muhammad Samir.
Yes, mister.
There is a shocking fact here in this page or in these two pages. What is it?
There were many.
Many what?
many 1,500 dead out of 2,200 died in the ship.
Very, very good, amazing. That more than 1,500 people died that night on the Titanic. This is the shocking fact, and of course, a sad fact, because
Yeah.
all of those people died for nothing. Died for
Nothing.
nothing. Let's complete. Now, as you can see, the submarine is much clearer, and this is exactly or almost exactly the picture that we have seen yesterday in the video, showing us the destruction of the Titanic and how it sank. Let's read.
Now the sub sailed out over the well deck, following the angle of the fallen foremast up toward the liner's bridge. We paused at the crow's nest. On the fateful night, Lookout Frederick Fleet had been on duty here. It was he who warned the bridge. Iceberg right ahead! Fleet was one of the lucky ones. He made it into a lifeboat and to safety. The pilot set Alvin gently down on the bridge, not far from the telemotor control, all that remained of the steering mechanism of the ship. It was here that First Officer William Murdoch, desperate to avoid the mountain of ice that lay in the Titanic's path, shouted to the helmsman, "Hard a starboard!" Then Murdoch watched in excruciating agony as the huge ship slowly began to turn, but it was too late, and the iceberg fatally grazed the liner's side. I thought of Captain E.J. Smith rushing from his cabin to be told the terrible news. 30 minutes later, after learning how quickly water was pouring into the ship, he knew that the unsinkable Titanic was doomed. We lifted off from the bridge and headed toward the stern. Over a doorway we could make out the brass plate with the words, "First Class Entrance." In my mind's eye, I could see the deck surging with passengers as the crew tried to keep order during the loading of the lifeboats. The broken arm of a lifeboat davit hung over the side. From this spot, portside, lifeboat number 2 was launched, barely half full. Among the 25 people in a boat designed to carry more than 40 were Minnie Coutts and her 2 boys.
Minnie Coutts and her 2 boys. So as you can see here, Khalid Walid.
Yes, hello, mister. How are you?
Hello. The Alvin was what? Stationed on the same place where the officer shouted what? Iceberg right ahead.
He also said that there is an ice bridge.
He saw it with his eyes. Remember the video of yesterday? As the binoculars were locked away.
Okay, miss.
Got it? So because he saw it with his own eyes, it was too late to turn. But if he had the binoculars, it might have saved them. Because why are the binoculars used, Khalid? Why are they used?
Mister, can I ask you a question? What is the meaning of binocular?
Look at the camera and you'll know what's the meaning of binoculars.
Yeah, it's used to see things that are far.
Very good. The binoculars, we use them to see far away things, right?
Yeah.
Yes. So he doesn't have a binocular. So will he see far away things?
Of course no.
Of course not. So that's why it was too late when he saw it with his
eyes.
Very good. Got it now?
Yeah.
Yes. Very good. Very, very good. Amazing. So that's simply it. There's nothing to explain here, but there's one more important information to know. that the first and the second lifeboat were launched only with so little people or so few people. Why is that? Why is that? As you can see here, they were trying to evacuate children and women first. Children and women first. So the boat number 1 and boat number 2, they were barely half full. These boats could fit 65 people. Imagine that you could save 40 more people. It had 25, so you can add 40, but you didn't add them. As you can see, this is the railing. This is called the railing. It's the fence where you stop and you hold not to fall in the water. And I guess this is the steering mechanism. Okay. So it's really old, you know, but it was really great. Though it, oh yes, see how big the Titanic is to the mini rowboat or to the rowboat. I don't remember his name really. Come on, let's go next.
Willie and Neville. They were among the relatively few third-class passengers to survive the sinking. As our tiny submarine continued toward the stern, we peered through the windows of first-class staterooms. The glass dome over the first-class grand staircase was long gone, providing a perfect opening for exploring the interior of the ship. But that would have to wait for a later visit, when we would bring along our robotic swimming eyeball, Jason Jr. As we continued back, I wondered what we would find. We already knew the ship lay in 2 pieces, with the stern nearly 2,000 feet, 600 meters away. Suddenly, the smooth steel subdecking contorted into a tangle of twisted metal where the stern had ripped free. Beyond it, hundreds of objects that had spilled out when the ship broke in two were lying on the ocean floor.
We're lying on the ship or on the ocean floor. It's exactly, guys, how we saw it on yesterday's video. It's exactly that. When it was sinking, it tore off. Some pieces peeled off. Okay. Now, listen to that. This is a quote, I guess, from a local newspaper, I guess.
Nearly lost because of a hat. Willie Coutts' hat nearly cost him his life. When the Titanic hit the iceberg, his mother, Minnie, roused 11-year-old Willie and his baby brother Neville, Wright, got them dressed and put on their life belts. Through the swirl of panicking passengers, Minnie led her children out of third class toward what she hoped was safety. One officer handed his own life belt to Minnie, saying, "If the boat goes down, you'll remember me." Another crewman led them to the boat deck. Minnie and Neville got in one of the last boats, but the officer in charge held Willie back. The rule was women and children first, and the hat Willie was wearing made him look too old. Willie's mother insisted, but the officer refused again. Finally, good sense prevailed, and Willie, too, stepped to safety.
And
Jason Jr. explores the remains of the grand staircase.
And Willie, too, stepped to safety. That means that he allowed Willie to board the lifeboat, and resulting that he lived. So some of you would tell me, Mister, why didn't they just put on their life jacket and wait in the water until simply another ship comes by? Because yesterday you've shown us that there was another ship that was near them and it came to their help. I will answer that with the water was freezing. It was below zero. As you can see, there were icebergs. So it was impossible for a normal human being to survive in such a freezing water. Most of the people, yes, very good. Most of the people who had life vests, they froze to death because they were in the water. Also, there's something very important. I need you all to look at the cameras. When something drowns, it makes a cyclone. It makes a cyclone. So when the ship drowns, it will attract people and things with it. Got it? Yes, they will float after a while, but on the first one, they go down. They suck them down. That's why also when the ship broke into two and started to sink, people died of that too, because it dragged them down. It dragged them down. Yes, the displace. It's in science. Ask your science teacher about it. It's the displace. Is when you put, for example, a rock in the water will rise for a bit. And in the moment that you put the water, if you made it with slow motion, you will notice that the water from the middle makes a bit of a hole. Makes a bit of a hole. This is called the water displace. Okay, let's complete.
Haunting mementos. Unlike its fairly intact bow section, the Titanic's stern, page 214, literally blew apart on hitting the bottom. In the debris field between the bow and stern, we saw hundreds of touching reminders of the tragedy. A porcelain doll's head, above right, is all that remains of an expensive French doll, inset. It may have belonged to Lorraine Allison of Montreal, above middle with her baby brother, the only child from first class who did not survive. A tin cup above left has come to rest near the round furnace door of one of the ship's huge boilers.
Yes. So how many children of first class who didn't make it? Huh? Huh? No. No, Omar Hamada, not two. Not two. Here. The only child. Very good. The only child. So how many children did not survive from first class? It's only one. Who is she? Lorraine Allison. It's Lorraine Allison. It's Lorraine Allison. Amazing, guys. Very good.
As we floated out over this debris field, I found it hard to believe that only a thin film of sediment covered plates and bottles that had lain on the bottom for 74 years. One of the ship's boilers sat upright on the mud with a tin cup resting on it, as if set there by a human hand. Champagne bottles lay with their corks still intact. A porcelain doll's head stared at us from its final resting place in the soft ooze. Had it belonged to little Lorraine Allison, the only child from first class who didn't survive that night? Most haunting of all were the shoes and boots. Many of them lay in pairs where...
So, here, what is the meaning of debris? I need Mr. Sugar. What is the meaning of debris?
Okay.
What is the meaning
Mr.
of debris?
Debris, okay.
Huh? What can you see on the ocean floor, Mr. Sugar?
The Titanic.
Yes, what else? What's around it?
I think this is the debris.
This is the debris. Very good. The debris are the broken pieces. Debris are the broken pieces. Very good. So this is the debris. Very good. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Huh?
pairs where bodies had once fallen. Within a few weeks of the sinking, the corpses had been consumed by underwater creatures and their bones had been dissolved by the cold salt water. Only those shoes remain, mute reminders of the human cost of the Titanic tragedy. After only 2 hours on the bottom, it was time for Alvin to begin the long ascent back to the surface ship, 2.5 miles, 4 kilometers above. As we headed back to the surface, I was already impatient to return to the Titanic. We had only begun to plumb its secrets.
To plumb its secrets. Very good. So, why do you think now that Alvin had to return to the surface? Mazen Ahmad, I hope your mic works.
Yes, Mister, it works.
Why do you think that Alvin had to return to this to the surface again?
Alvin had to return to the surface because he saw that the Titanic was beginning to sink, really sink. And
It's in the bottom of the ocean. How will it sink even more?
I know, but at least it had another part that was at least above the ocean. That
Of course not. It sank 74 years ago, Mazen. Wake up. So,
Hey,
why does the submarine needs to go up?
the submarine needs to go up because that's
What's
where
inside the submarine, Mazen? Who's inside the submarines?
people, of course.
People or humans, right? And those humans breathe what?
Oxygen.
Oxygen. Very good. And can we simply, do we have gills?
No, we don't breathe hydrogen here. We breathe oxygen.
Very good. So we don't have gills, right? So we need to breathe air from where?
So we need to breathe air from the sky, from the surface.
Yes, from the atmosphere, right?
Right.
And if the oxygen finished, what will happen to the people inside the submarine, inside Alvin?
Humanity will be
They will?
destroyed.
They will die, right? They will
Right.
die. So they will have to do what?
They have to go up to the surface.
Very good. Ascend
What
to
are
the
they?
surface.
Are they fish?
Ascend to the surface. Ascend to the surface. Right?
Right. We need to go up to the surface.
And to get what?
Oxygen.
Oxygen. This is the most important thing. To get oxygen, right?
Oxygen. Yes.
Yes, amazing. This is the most important thing. So the Alvin need to go to the surface to provide oxygen for people inside it. Inside it. So the setting of this story is where, Mazen?
The setting of the story was in the North Atlantic Ocean, close to Newfoundland, Canada.
So in the bottom of the North Atlantic Ocean, right?
Yeah, in the bottom of the North Atlantic Ocean, close to Newfoundland, Canada.
Yes, amazing. Very good. That's exactly where it sank. But the two parts, Mazen, they sank away from each other, as I've shown you in the video. Okay. So guys, this was the Titanic story.
Oh my,
No, Mazen, just a minute. Asr Hussam. Asr. Ahmed Habib.
Yes, Mr.
Ahmed, all of these words here in this story are real or not real?
Real.
Real. Are you sure that they're real?
Yes, they are real.
Yes, because it's expository text, right?
Yes.
He supported those with what?
With facts.
Yes, they are facts, but he supported them with what? With newspaper articles, right?
Right.
With real pictures of real people, right?
Right.
This is it. Like, this is Lorraine, the kid who died. She was the first class. She was the only first class child to die. And this was what? Huh? Willie and
Willie and
Neville. Willie and
Neville.
Neville. And
Neville.
those are
Willie and
real
Neville.
pictures from the bottom of the,
Yes.
right?
Ocean.
Yes, very good. From the bottom of the sea or
Mister,
bottom of the ocean. Very good. So he supported what he's saying by getting what also? Real
Real pictures.
for people, things and places, right?
Places.
So if you took a
Places.
submarine to the bottom of the sea, you will find this exactly. Of course, it might have been changed, but up to that moment, this was it, right?
Yes.
Yes, amazing. Very good. So thank you very much for this period. It was an amazing one. I really, really enjoyed it. And I'll see you again next period. I love you guys.
Mister, can
Take
I
care.
ask you a question,
Stay
please?
safe. Sure, I'll have your questions. Stay safe and
don't-
bye.
I don't know, Mister, how the Titanic split into two because of a scrape. How?
No.
That's
It
impossible.
didn't break into two because of the scrape. As I've shown you in the video before. What happened to it? It was
because
like
of
that.
gravity?
Then it leaned to its tip. It leaned. So what happened? This part was too heavy because it had the engines and so on. So what happened? Because of the gravity, it fell down. So it broke. Got it?
Got it.
Yes. So I'll see you again after the break. See you guys. Bye.
Mister, I have a question.
Sure.
No, not